From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Tuesday, November the 13th, 2018. We open with a major escalation of violence from Gaza, which began last night with a non-stop, indiscriminate barrage of rocket fire from Gaza at southern Israel that left one person dead and at least 2 seriously wounded and many others with lighter injuries. The attacks began around 4:30 p.m. yesterday Israel time when Palestinian terrorists from Gaza fired a Kornet anti-tank guided missile at an Israeli bus near the Gaza border, severely injuring an IDF soldier who was standing near it. Dozens of other Israeli soldiers had disembarked from the bus just moments before. The bus strike was followed by some 460 rockets fired at Israeli communities in 25 hours, which is said to be more than twice the number of rockets fired than on any single day of the Gaza war in 2014. Many of these recent rockets landed in open areas, with over 100 intercepted by the Iron Dome missile defense system, but at least 6 rockets landed on homes in southern Israel, including on a 4-story apartment building in the city of Ashkelon, killing 48-year-old Mahmoud Abu Azba, a Palestinian from the West Bank who had permits to be in Israel. 2 women were also seriously injured there. A total of 108 people were taken to the hospital with lesser injuries, about half suffering from shock. And residents in a number of southern Israeli communities have been told to stay close to bomb shelters, with schools in those areas closed today. The IDF responded to the incessant rocket fire by striking about 150 targets belonging to Gaza terror groups Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad. The terror group cited an operation conducted by the IDF Sunday night in Gaza when Israeli special ops came under fire during what was said to be an intelligence gathering operation. And 41-year-old IDF Lieutenant Colonel, whose identity has not been released to the public, was killed, and another IDF soldier was wounded. The details of the operation are classified. Hamas claims that several of their members were killed during the incident and that the rockets were retaliation. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who was on a state visit to Paris to commemorate 100 years since the end of World War I, cut his trip short, returning to Israel yesterday because of the security situation. He met today with security officials in Tel Aviv to discuss the situation. Israel's ambassador to the United Nations, Danny Danon, stressed that the Palestinian terror groups are responsible for the escalation, releasing a statement that Israel will not accept a call for both sides to exercise restraint. Danon said there is one side that attacks and fires 400 missiles at civilian populations, and there is another side that protects its citizens. U.S. Special Representative for International Negotiations Jason Greenblatt said of the rockets, "We must all condemn these attacks. Israel must once again use military force to protect its citizens. We stand with Israel in its defense against these attacks." Further saying Hamas's actions continue to prove that they do not care about the people of Gaza and they use them for their political agenda. Condemnation of the rockets and support for Israel was also heard from members of Congress and other American officials, as well as from the leaders of Austria, Canada, the Czech Republic, France, and Italy. Jewish organizations here in the U.S. expressed their support, saying they stand with Israel and with her right to self-defense. Attempts at ceasefires were reported late last night with a brief lull in rocket fire, and later this afternoon it appeared that a ceasefire agreement may have been reached. We will have more on the situation tonight, right after this newscast, when I speak with the spokesperson of the Israeli Consulate General in New York, Almog Eligis, on In the News. Turning now to some other news, the city of Jerusalem is one of a number of Israeli cities holding a second round of municipal elections today. Mayoral candidates Moshe Leon and Ofer Berkovich face off in the capital after neither received enough votes in the first round of elections on October the 30th. Local elections in Ashkelon were postponed because of the situation with Gaza. Legendary comic book creator, writer, editor, and publisher Stan Lee has died. Born Stanley Martin Lieber in New York City to Jewish immigrants from Romania, Lee became the editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics and the creator of such iconic characters as the Hulk, Spider-Man, Iron Man, and Captain America. Lee passed away yesterday at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles. He was 95. And the annual Tel Aviv night run went on as planned tonight. There were those who thought the city should cancel in light of the security situation, but the city's mayor, Ron Huldai, said despite the difficult reality, it is important that we run the race. Huldai said the event will be held in solidarity with residents of the South. And Tel Aviv City Hall released a statement saying we will not surrender to terror. Also mentioning that the city had hosted 200 families from the South at community centers across Tel Aviv. Those families were invited to join the night run for free, and residents of the South were also invited to visit Tel Aviv's many museums free of charge. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Tuesday, November the 13th at 7 o'clock, Rabbi Ethan Tucker of Mechon Hadar discusses the change in the perceptions American and Israeli Jews have with Gary Rosenblatt of the Jewish Week. At 8, Israel's former ambassador to the U.S., Michael Oren, talks about the relationship between American Jewry and Israel and the future of diaspora Jewry. At 9, it's a roundtable discussion of whether Israel's new basic law affirming Israel as the nation-state of the Jewish people is a threat to Israeli democracy and American Jewry. That's with Thane Rosenbaum, Eric Yaffe, Micah Halpern, and Naomi Vilko. At 10 tonight, it's Kosher Movies. And coming up right after this newscast at 6:30, I speak with spokesperson and consul for media affairs at the Consulate of Israel in New York, Almog Eligis, about the current situation in Israel. And that's the JBS News Update for Tuesday, November the 13th, 2018. I'm Teisha Bader.